So, we're not ready for the World Cup yet, but we are ready for the Southeast Asian Championship, or AFF Suzuki Cup if you prefer. We've even got some new signings to bolster the squad. Well, I say new signings, but I mean 2 converted dual nationals and a regen. First up, Harry Birtwistle, who my international scouts spotted on the books at Wolves. He never played for them and has since moved on to Bradford Park Avenue, but we'll take him. And here is Song Yui Young, originally from South Korea, but after several years playing in Singapore, he's taken up citizenship and answered the call. Finally, our regen, Fahrudin Hazil, who got signed by MLS side Atlanta United after popping up in the MLS Super Draft. Add them to the Fandy boys. I now realise there are actually 3 of them, all brothers. Then we have the outline of a decent squad. But now let's turn our attention to our first tournament, the AFF Southeast Asian Suzuki Championship Cup. We came into the competition in questionable form, having conceded far too many goals in our recent friendly fixtures, which could prove to be an issue as we were drawn in a group with holders Thailand ranked 79th in the world, Vietnam ranked 109th in the world, jointly with the Philippines, also in our group, and then Malaysia ranked 144th in the world. So yeah, all nations ranked above us, and with the exception of the Philippines, all nations that are considered rivals. But looking at Group B, we see Brunei ranked 195th, Cambodia 174th, Indonesia equal with us in 147th, Laos 183rd, and Myanmar 154th. Hardly seems fair, does it? But never mind, we love a good underdog story, and ours begins with Vietnam. 10 minutes in, Zulkifli floated a beauty to the far post where Iksan Fandi was waiting to fire home from a tight angle. Just before half-time, we exploited that far post again as Abdullah sent in a high cross for Yui Young to rise high and head home his first ever goal for Singapore. Yui Young almost grabbed another early in the second half, but was denied by the keeper. Bradford's very own Birtwistle was on hand, though, to smash home the rebound. That finally stirred Vietnam to life, and it was through a rebound of their own that they pulled one back 2 minutes later. And then, the moment I thought all good fortune had deserted us, as somehow that free kick eluded everyone and bounced into the net. We rallied though in stoppage time. Yui Young sent a ball through for 17-year-old Sharin Mohammed to grab us a fantastic victory. With our morale sky high, we went into our game with Thailand feeling unbeatable. That feeling didn't last very long. Things seemingly went from bad to worse in our next game against Malaysia as Davis scored after just 3 minutes. We didn't let our heads drop though, as a beautiful passing move resulted in Birtwistle breaking through the defence to score a fine goal. And it all seemed to be heading for a draw until, with 96 minutes on the clock, Yui Young once again played through the teenage sensation Sharin Mohammed for a late winner. That all meant that despite the heavy defeat to Thailand, heading into the final match day, we were in a strong chance of grabbing that all-important second place. We would just need to match Vietnam's result. A tense game ensued, as we went close on more than one occasion. In the second half, news started coming through that Vietnam were winning and would go through as things stood, but then Yui Young stepped up with this absolute screamer with just 10 minutes to go. But it wasn't over yet. Oh no. Into stoppage time, news came through that Vietnam had won their match, and we got that dreaded highlight late on. Singaporean hearts in Singaporean mouths as the ball came through to Porteria, but we just about survived and secured the unbelievable 1-0 win. And that result put us in a clear second place in the group and through to a 2-legged semi-final against Indonesia. Now that group stage performance had brought with it a surge of optimism, but it had come at a price. Ilhan Fandi had picked up an injury in the Malaysia game that would rule him out of this Final Four clash, and brother Irfan Fandi had picked up a suspension ruling him out as well. And so had Iksan Fandi, and indeed it turned out there was no fan to be had in the first leg, as we fell to a 2-0 defeat and had Adrian Edwards sent off for a second yellow card late on. That 2-0 defeat left us with a lot of work to do, and in the second leg, a goal for Indonesia early in the second half effectively killed off the tie. Yui Young topped off an impressive first tournament for Singapore with an equaliser late on, and then in stoppage time, Vesterling put an exclamation point on our poor disciplinary record as we got one more sending off. So Indonesia then would go on to the final to face Thailand, and ultimately it was the Thais who would go on to win. So at least we can say we were beaten 6-1 by the eventual winners. What next? Well, the only jobs available are from other Southeast Asian nations who just sacked their managers. So I think we'll stick with Singapore for now and attempt to qualify for the next Asian Cup. And you'll find that video here soon enough.